Welcome back to Film vs. History. I'm joined by Horatio Gould.
Ich liebe Numbers.
And today, I've been a very good boy.
Yes.
I've come down.
Yeah.
It's Christmas morning, and my stocking is full of Nazis. Oh, I've been a good boy this year. The restraint we've shown as a podcast.
Extraordinary.
I mean, I think it should be treated in the same regard as the Heart of Giza.
Yeah.
He ran Africa.
Yeah.
I started a history podcast, and I did the First Crusade before I did anything to do with the Nazis.
Well, we should have done it for sort of a comic relief charity thing.
Yes.
Sort of like
yes.
Walliam swimming the channel.
Yeah.
We should be doing, I think, 26 episodes without doing one about the Nazis.
Yeah, I mean,
that should have been extraordinary.
It's a similar feat, and that I had to baste myself in goose fat to get through.
Yeah, well, I mean,
anything medieval.
Jamie Lang's just done that thing on Radio 1 about him running, you know.
Again, I think we could do videos of me breaking
Greg
down.
James going like, it's amazing, that's another week without talking about...
It's so hard. My body hurts. It hurts everywhere. It hurts everywhere.
No.
I ache. Today, I'm very excited.
Blood!
I've been such a good boy. And today is my treat. A real treat. It's been a treat of a few weeks, actually.
Yes.
Iranian Revolution, Darwin, eugenics.
Yeah.
And now, today, we're talking about Adolf Eichmann, the lesser-spotted Adolf.
Yes.
It is, as history goes, I think it's like Toy Story 3.
Right.
It's a perfect film.
Right.
You would not change anything.
Yeah.
Well, no, sorry, I mean, from a moral point of view, I changed quite a lot.
Yeah, so you're crying at the end.
I mean, cinematically, it's incredible.
Yeah.
The story, it's the Nazis, it's 60s James Bond spy scene.
Yeah.
It's justice after 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, it's an incredible story.
It's a Tarantino revenge film as well.
Yeah, what's the Inglourious Basterds?
Inglourious Basterds.
It's like that, but that bit of it's quite less showy. It's quite there's a very long trial. But it's just amazing. I'm gonna say this could be. I don't know how many episodes it's going to be. I'm going to go big. It's obviously one of my favourite things that's ever happened. It's glorious.
Yeah.
The whole thing is glorious.
I mean, because we're dancing around the Nazis as well. We're edging around it. So we're going to, it's nice putting your toe in with one little...
the water feels lovely. It's so comforting. The warm bath of the Nazis.
So today, we're going to be talking about the early life.
The early life of Adolf Eichmann, who...
Otto Adolf Eichmann.
Well, he had several names over his life, which we'll get to. But Adolf Eichmann, just the top line, is probably the highest-ranking Nazi that was found after the war. He was heavily involved in the Holocaust. Now, obviously, for which I guess we should say is still contested for balance. We should say if this was a BBC show, we'd have to say allegedly. We'd have to have David Icahn as well, just to make sure that all opinions are represented. But that's one of the good things about new media, is that we can just say the Holocaust happened. And if you don't like it, then stop watching.
Yeah.
But he was heavily involved in the Holocaust. He was a bad man, real bad man. Or the most efficient civil servant of all time.
Exactly.
You can make your mind up.
Can you blame a machine for what it does?
Was he just a cog?
Was he just a
humble cog? The story is incredible. It spans the globe. It spans 20 years.
Yeah.
In this episode, we'll be dealing with his war record, allegedly.
Yeah.
Eichmann,
it feels like, we could do it to Eichmann's, used effectively, they could be a real force for good.
Right, yeah, I see.
If his trains were spreading friendship and love, then you could spread them really quickly.
Yeah, because, his defense is that he just fucking loves trains. The man who loved trains too much. This is the dark side of Francis Bourgeois.
But he's like this is dark bourgeois.
Dark bourgeois. This is Vichy Francis Bourgeois, if you will. Man, that's a real have I got news for you joke.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's very nice. Very, very
Have I got news for you is around, we should say. This is the...
It's been around for 500 years.
Many series. This is late era have I got news for you, the 40s. So Adolf Eichmann is it's German.
He's got one of those German names.
Yeah, I guess. His father was called Adolf as well.
Yeah.
So I guess it sort of does that mean that Adolf Hitler is essentially called like James Hitler?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
It's
very classic because now it's so tainted.
Well, that's what I mean is that I guess of all the punishment Germany has had to go through as
Right,
a society of all the rightful punishments. You know, eradicating one of their staple names.
Yeah, because they're
no one talks
eradicators.
about that.
Yeah.
Or I guess it's it's an eye for an eye. You know, you got rid of all of us nearly, so you can't call anyone Peter.
Yeah, is that fair's fair? I guess so.
Yeah, all. This series will be a real test of whether our audience is actually on the same page as us in terms of taste.
Yeah.
Strong stomachs for the lot of you.
Let's
iron
hope
stomachs.
this doesn't get shared on X. Sincerely.
Yeah, no,
Have
that
you
is
seen
a risk.
lot of the?
That's a risk.
I mean, X has just gone crazy with the Nazi truthers.
Has it?
I mean, it's fascinating. I saw there was a 6-hour documentary, quite well produced, about how Hitler's the most misunderstood man of the 20th century.
I'm listening.
It opens with an artist. Misunderstood at his age.
Yeah. No, they're bad boys.
Yeah.
I mean, now we should stress that we on our Patreon we have a 4-part series on the rise of the Nazis.
Yes.
And obviously we are going to deal with the war, but we're still working out how we deal with topics that are so big you can't do them in a week. Which we make.
We should be doing a month at a time with
a month on every theatre of the war, on every year of the war. So the rise of the Nazis is on our Patreon, and our take really is that, as you'll see in those episodes, that the Nazis is the greatest stag do that's ever lived.
Yeah.
It's the greatest. It's the boys unchained from any kind of domestic pressure. Yeah. This is what they will do, left without wives,
and men left with an internet connection. If they're not watching pornography, they will eventually be looking at the Wikipedia page of the Nazis.
Exactly.
And working their way through it.
Yeah.
If you got you got a spare 20 minutes to kill,
our audience
get on the Nazi Germany Wikipedia, scroll down.
Our audience are either wanking or they're listening to us talking about Nazis. That's what these people are doing. But what happens with Eichmann and post Nuremberg, the Nazis that flee is, I mean, imagine that guy on a stag do who's gone the hardest. And they're about to get their flight back, and he goes, "Nah, I don't want to go home. I'm carrying on the party." And he stays in fucking.
He met a girl in a bar.
Yeah,
you got a wife and kids.
No, fuck that. I'm gonna keep drinking. I'm gonna wake up and keep drinking. I'm gonna move in with this lady boy that I've met, and that's my new life. That's essentially what Eichmann does.
In some ways.
And then he's brought back 15 years, 20 years later and put on trial
by his
wife and kids. And he's in a box and he looks very unhappy and guilty as they just read off a litany of all the awful things he's done on the stag do. He goes, I didn't do that, did I? That's a bit much.
Bloody hell.
Really?
All right, keep it light.
Yeah, come on. All right. It's a stag do. What do you expect me to do? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I stayed in Vegas. That's what happened. I was just following orders. That's what you'll say, I reckon.
I'll say that you
when this podcast gets cancelled
and then I've escaped.
I blow my brains out.
Yeah.
You run away like a rat, right? To whoever will have you. Yeah. And then you'll be put on trial, and they'll be like, "You were part of this podcast." And you go, "I was just following orders. I was a cog in the machine.
I had no idea what the numbers meant.
I'm a civil servant. That's all I am." Regret is something for little children.
This is a quote from Eichmann.
So that's who you're dealing with, really. That's the man.
We've actually got that up on the wall as
that
a motivation.
Is actually one of the quotes.
Like a motivational.
Yeah, it's a good thing you don't turn the cameras round. There's a lot of what I'm calling motivational symbols. So Adolf Eichmann.
We're dancing around.
We're dancing. Let's get into it.
Beast.
Let's crack open.
Sorry, just back on the stag do analogy before we crack in. He's the guy. He's not the guy who stays. To be honest, in the stag do party, he is the guy who books everything. Is he not?
Yeah, no,
he's
he is.
The guy who's have you
Yep.
got this? He's making sure the t-shirts are printed.
Yep.
He's not coming up with the nicknames, but he's making
I booked the hotel. You've got to wear your t-shirt on this. Yeah, he's
meet
booked the crawl.
Here, come on.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
guys, next bar. We've got to go.
And at the end
you don't
of
want to
it,
be stuck in a conversation with him, but if he wasn't there, the stag do wouldn't really run properly.
And at the end of it, when he's saying this stag do was a crime, he go, no. I'm not responsible for what happened in the pub. I just made the reservation for the table for 12.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't make any wolf whistles at the strippers. I didn't bring them home, but I did get the people there. What happened there is not my problem. He's the Jeff Bezos.
We all know an Eichmann, though. That's my point. Is he's an archetype. Yeah. He's not the type of Nazi I would have been. I'm not an Eichmann-esque guy.
No, really?
You know, I think I'm much more of I'm an ideas guy. You know, I don't run efficiently. I make a lot of mistakes, but I'm a spitballer. We all have friends who are Eichmanns. There's Eichmanns everywhere.
I'm just shouting. That's what I'm doing. And someone's trying to vaguely translate what I said. I'm a performer. I'm the one with the devil eyes that I get the masses in.
Dark charisma. And no one's really listening to what I'm saying. They're just seeing the movements, the ballet. I'm sliding a couple of lines in front of you, and you're just like,
yeah. That's what I'm doing. I've got the floppy hair. So Adolf Eichmann is the eldest of 5 children.
Right.
His father, Adolf Karl Eichmann, devout Protestant, and has a managerial position as an oil company.
Right.
So it's a family. It's a middle class family of boring
dullards.
I mean, I guess this is nowadays he'd be listening to Diary of a CEO completely earnestly for advice on how to.
Yes, the best part of his year is probably the Tough Mudder he does with his colleagues.
Eichmann's doing Tough Mudders fully, 100%. He's just average. He's the logistics guy on a stag do. He's maybe that video of Gareth Southgate in the early 90s when he's at Aston Villa and they're all the Aston Villa players are talking about their favourite drinks the night out.
Yeah.
Merson's going, I love like 10 Jaeger bombs and a vodka soda. And then Gareth goes, well, I mainly drink water, but the weekend, I'll have a couple of beers. That's Eichmann, right? That's the other Nazis compared to Eichmann.
Yes.
He's the straight man.
Right.
In a platoon of camp cartoonish villains, he's the straight. Here we go. Yeah.
I mean, during the week I just drink mostly water and stuff like that, but I enjoy a few beers at the weekend to unwind.
That's Adolf Eichmann.
That's Adolf Eichmann. Gareth Southgate. So we should probably place this actually for the listeners. So we're talking about the post-war years, 45, the trial, which we'll get to the end of the series in 1961. So to place that, 1961, this is after the Munich air disaster. Man United have lost their entire team.
Yes.
They've lost their entire team, but it's before Beckham's goal from the halfway line.
Right.
So it's that
Busby's
era.
Babes dead.
Busby's Babes are dead.
Beckham's ball back of the net.
Yeah, that's that. If you're a United fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That should place it precisely.
Yeah.
And he basically, his early life, he gets sucked in to the devilish eyes of the Führer at an early age. He joins the Nazi party in, I think, 33. So he must be, in his mid-20s?
Yeah, what I found interesting about him is that he wasn't even... I think the idea of a lot of these kind of really efficient Nazis is they're just kind of like these smart kind of machines efficiently. But he wasn't even that intelligent.
No.
He didn't do well at school. He was incredibly average. It's not like he was some...
I think he didn't even complete school.
Yeah, he was actually quite thick.
Yeah.
He just had like... His brain had a rare, very narrow intelligence at admin that he found later in life.
Well, no one has ever really been better at admin than this guy. And you can say the worst things that happened in history, which is the Holocaust, would not have happened had you been in charge of it.
They would love it if I was in charge.
The trains would be late. There'd be replacement buses. They would break down. You need, in order to carry out this level of evil, you need some rock hard, solid competency.
Yeah, which is often missing from like great films about good and evil.
Because the thing is that like
you don't see the Eichmann of like with the orcs and Lord of the Rings. You don't have one of those guys.
But Hitler's like, he's like Jeff Bezos. He's like, I wanted to arrive the next day, and then some poor cunt's got to go fucking hell. All right, well, let's build a big warehouse.
We also said this, so we have to
build a big warehouse, get them all in there. We won't pay them; they'll work till they're dead, and then you press a button, ordering some fucking milkshake powder.
Well, it's like Pete often says. He says, just tell me what you want,
and I'll get it done.
We'll see what we can do.
Exactly. He's who's Harvey Keitel in Pulp Fiction? He's the
wolf.
The
fixer.
The fixer.
Yeah.
That's what Eichmann is. So in his early professional career, he's a travelling salesman, a junior clerk at the Vacuum Oil Company, which is an American firm which later becomes Standard Oil. So there's blood on their hands as well.
He's a loser as well.
He's a complete fucking dweeb.
Yeah.
He's got...
as we talked in our Rise of the Nazis series, a huge appeal of the Nazis and the people who took over is during the Weimar years, where everyone's shagging, everyone's polyamorous, they've all got like kind of blue hair, smoking, kind of like all that sort of stuff. Cool liberals ran that society. Yeah. So fucking dweeby, incelly losers had no status.
No.
In this period. So the Nazis really gave an opportunity. Because if you look at the high command of the Nazis, they're not these Aryan supermenschers, ubermenschers. A lot of them are just these really dweeby fucking...
Fat losers.
Fat losers.
I mean...
and Eichmann is an even loser within that group.
Yeah. They all kind of like bully him, I reckon.
Yeah.
Because you got, who's the big fucker? The really big...
Hess? Is it Rudolf Hess?
No, Rudolf Hess is the Auschwitz... he's the Auschwitz commandant. Goering's big, isn't he? Is Goering the big fucker?
Big fat one.
Big fat one in the white one with the medals, who's the head of the Luftwaffe, even though there's no way he can get in a plane. He's booking 2 seats on a plane, Hermann Goering.
Yeah.
So he joins the Nazi Party in 32, the Austrian Nazi Party and the SS. So he's straight into the SS.
Yes.
Which
not everyone, explain what the SS is.
The SS is it's basically like the Masons of the Nazi Party. Like it's the boys within the boys. It's the big WhatsApp group. You start another little WhatsApp group with the faithful.
But is it like Hitler's security force, but then it's more than that?
Yeah,
I think nominally it's meant to be Hitler's.
It's meant to be like a crack paramilitary team. That's how it starts, and then it
basically becomes an elite.
Yeah. So the Austrian Nazi Party gets outlawed in 1932, and so Eichmann flees to Germany, where he trained at Dachau in the SS. Dachau obviously later becomes pretty bad.
But as we said in the Rise of the Nazis series, at this point it is a fat camp.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's trying to lose weight. Trying to get them to bulk up. So I guess when you're looking at his defense later on, if he's leaving Austria because the party's been outlawed to move to somewhere else, how much is he a true believer? That's quite a damning early step that he makes.
It's a status. He finally has a bit of power and respect. He doesn't have anything else.
No, because he's got no mates.
Yeah,
he's thick.
But he puts on the big shiny uniform and he just feels powerful.
Yeah.
He can finally has people he can tell what to do.
Big collar, big hat.
It's everything to him.
So he gets transferred to the Sicherheitsdienst, which is the Nazi intelligence and security agency run by Reinhard Heydrich. There's some fucking... They're just great names as well. Reinhard Heydrich.
You're whacking them off.
They're just and he gets assigned early on to the Jewish affairs.
Right.
Which
what could possibly go wrong?
Anyone denying that the Nazis have a thing for the Jews in the 30s, if no other religion's got an affairs.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? There's not a Buddhist affairs. There's not a Muslim affairs. So that should be a pretty red flag.
Yeah.
Now in 1937, he travels to Palestine, then called Palestine, on a mission to explore Jewish emigration, because I suppose the Jewish policy that the Nazis have evolves over the 15 years they're in power.
Yeah.
At the start, it's, okay, stay there.
Yeah.
Then it's, actually, no thanks, go over there.
Yeah. Well, they were thinking about moving them to Madagascar at one point.
Yeah, exactly. So this is when they start going, okay, go over there.
Yeah.
And then they go sort of, right, go away, and then it's get in the bin.
Get in the bin, yeah.
That's the final one.
That's the final solution.
Get in the bin. That's the final solution. It's get in the bin.
Yeah. It's fuck off, actually, get in the bin.
Yeah, it's before get in the bin.
It's
so
fuck off.
To place this for the dum-dums, in the Nazi Jewish policy, in this stage, Eichmann is exploring...
Was this the penultimate solution, basically?
Yes, this is the not yet final solution. They're workshopping the final solution.
Yeah.
They're going, where can we send these people?
Yeah.
And Madagascar, South Africa, which would, I don't know why Madagascar... Is it just because it's an island? Like, why Madagascar? It would change that film quite a lot, wouldn't it? If there's all these talking elephants and shit, and then there's just millions of European Jews.
Yeah, I guess it's just like there's the ones that would be easiest to do.
The Madagascar plan.
I guess it's an island as well, so it's kind of... If you really think that Jewish people are a plague, as the Nazis do...
Yeah. There's a plan
maybe
proposed
having them on an island is the idea.
Forcibly relocate the Jewish population of Europe to the island of Madagascar. Franz Rademacher, head of the Jewish department of the German Foreign Office, proposed the deal in June 1940. The idea of resettling Polish Jews in Madagascar was investigated by the French Third Republic. So it's like an idea, I guess, in the vehemently anti-Semitic early 20th century. Just put them all in Madagascar.
But then, do they also? So when he's checking out Palestine, is he looking at that as an option to move Jewish people there?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which is something he then claims later on.
He's like, well, I came up with this.
I actually came up with this idea. I thought you weren't an ideas man. Fuck. But he's a bank manager, he's a postal clerk, he's a boring loser listening to Stephen Bartlett, thinking about how can I, do I get up at 4?
Yeah.
What happens if I get up at 4? Can I move even more Jews? So after the Anschluss,
which we're very pro.
We are pro Anschluss, as we
must
said.
said. On the Rise of the Nazi series, we came out as being, they did a lot wrong, the Nazis. But
many things wrong.
One thing
Terrible
we
things.
have no problems with was the Anschluss.
Germans and Austrians are basically the same.
To us, they are.
They're both slightly weird. They eat pork, cabbage. They love tits and putting women in tit forward dresses.
Yes, exactly.
Drinking pints.
Yeah.
They like laughing at things that aren't funny, and they eat cabbage. They're all the same.
And why are you guys pretending you're different? I don't know. Yeah.
Just fucking huddle up.
We said that if Hitler had just done the Anschluss, which is the Austria and Germany becoming one country,
if he'd stopped there,
brilliant.
We wouldn't be talking about him now.
No.
Who
just
cares?
Be another guy.
Oh, that guy had a good idea once.
Yeah.
Did I tell you that? Because I went to Hamburg on a sort of stag do.
Yeah.
And we went. You know when it's just the boys are on a weekend and it's like you find one restaurant that's good. You go, let's just go there for every meal. I can't be asked. I can't be asked to fucking find a new place. Let's just go there every meal. So it was like
So you stayed in the restaurant the whole time.
Basically, if they had beds, we would have just stayed there. But we went there on the second day, and they were like, "Oh, it's you again." We're like, "Yeah. We have no imagination. We just want to drink.
Eichmann.
We just want. We're Eichmann. There's 6 Adolf Eichmanns. We just like a beer, please." We sat us at a table, and then behind like these long, beer house tables.
Yeah.
And then behind us, there was like one of the tables had been turned into kind of like catwalk. It looked like. And we're like, "Oh, that's weird. What's going on?" And then a dress rehearsal for the Hamburg Beer Königin,
right.
the Hamburg Beer Queen 2025 began, and like 10 women with paddleboards and numbers just started strolling down this catwalk, basically like holding beer steins and like showing off, and all the men were like, well, this was the dress rehearsals. They weren't in the dresses.
Right.
We were like, this is fucking great. Can we get tickets? And they're like, it's been sold out for 10 months.
Fuck.
But the thing is that we watched old footage of the previous year's Beer Queen festival, and their tits are just everywhere. Germans just love a tit.
They love it.
I think there's a fascistic thing about Mutti, Milch, strength, giving,
the
nurturing. The arse. The
is
arse is not around. It's
the
not.
Bunda, that is not.
Well, the Bundeswehr is the parliament, isn't it?
The Bundestag.
The big batty Bundeswehr.
The less white, the more it's about the arse. So if you're going to be the most pure,
here we go,
kind of Heinz the tit is very like, if you're a racist white person,
so
love of
are
a
you
big
saying
bunda,
that it's a
big batty gal, that's as far away as you can get.
Oh, this is a revelation.
Tits are fascist.
Are you saying that it's a dog whistle question to ask, are you a tits or an arse man?
Yeah, I do think so.
Basically saying, are you left or right wing?
Well, it's me. It's the kind of it's the top room of a pub that you're doing secretly. Someone's trying to come in. You a tits or an arse man?
Yeah.
Tit man.
Come in then.
Did anyone follow
because
you
I think the Germans they're not doing now they're all arse.
Yeah.
The Berliners are all arse.
Yes,
that's all they want.
They're trying to overcompensate. They're trying to pretend because they know if they got into the tits and the mother and the milk.
Exactly. The geilige Titten.
Yeah, because it's Sound of Music. It's Alpine. It's
lovely.
Yeah, it's all evoking this kind of like
the Bavarian dresses they're just tits. It's like a shelf of tits. Mutti. That's what all the Nazis are trying to create, this image of this big-titted woman with steins.
It's on one end, and like twerking and Notting Hill Carnivals at the other
Terrifying. Communist stuff. Dirty bottoms. The commies have got dirty bottoms. Notting Hill Carnival. Adolf Eichmann wouldn't have been seen dead at Notting Hill Carnival.
Instead it's Morty.
He would have seen Notting Hill Carnival and this is terribly organised. What are these poor people living in the streets?
It might have done, if you because he's like a wind-up toy. If you'd got him to organise Notting Hill Carnival, it probably would have done a great job. If that was his, if he's just trying to organise the timings, he probably would have done a great job.
Well, yeah, but then he's like, and then she will get them on the buses, and then the buses will go. It's where the train's going to. That's the problem. God, I mean, if he'd been in charge of the Elizabeth line, it would have been done quicker.
Yeah, exactly.
But the terminus would not have been Heathrow. Put it that way. HS2 may have been done though.
Yeah.
But again,
once again, it's just like, what do we need? An extension that goes?
Hang on, I thought I was going to Birmingham. Yeah, no, exactly. So he's rising up the ranks of the Nazi Party in the 30s, and then in 39 he gets promoted to Section 4B4 of the Reich Main Security Office. So by the time the war starts, he's head civil servant. He's the logistics guy. He is trying to get the Jews to Madagascar or to Palestine.
Yep.
He's in, Hitler's he's the ideas man. He's Steve Jobs. He's saying, I want this. And then he's the poor fucker that's got to put the whole, that Bill Burr bit about how it's like, oh, was Steve Jobs that good?
Yeah.
And all he did was just shout, and then some poor fucker had to actually make the thing.
Yeah.
So Hitler's shouting, I want all the Jews to go away.
Yeah.
And he's the guy that's like putting your entire music library into a phone.
He's Steve Wozniak.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
He's the other, exactly.
Right. Oh, exactly, right.
He's the other one.
So there'll be a big trial of Steve Wozniak at some point.
Yeah.
Right. So early years of the war, he's moving Jews around.
Right. But also he's making a lot of money because often when the Jewish people are forcibly removed from Germany or Austria, they are then forced loads of taxes on them, which is often everything they own. Yeah. And he's skimming crazy. He's skimming crazy off the top.
Is it a tax if it's everything you own?
Yeah. So it's just, what you got? Let's have that. Now fuck off.
It's the most boring loser mate you have starts getting a bit of power.
Yeah.
They will commit the worst crimes.
Definitely.
Like if they have too much money, they're like,
right,
well.
The one who's been made fun of the most.
Exactly. It's exactly that. He was blatantly bullied a fuck ton, Eichmann. So he gets assigned to organise the deportation of 70 to 80,000 Jews from the Ostrava district in Moravia and Katowice, which is in Poland. So they invade Poland in 39, and Poland just sort of collapses like a pudding because they don't have much of an army, really.
Yeah, it's true. There's a valiant fight, but
is there?
There is, apparently.
Oh, right, okay.
There's a very valiant fight, but they've got spears against tanks.
They've got spears and horses. The Nazis are on meth in tanks. Out the raus! They're not stop. Blitzkrieg is they're up all night. That's what Blitzkrieg is. It's not like technology. It's speed. It's just speed warfare. It's like it's chemsex, but it's chemsex, but it's chem warfare. That's what the Blitzkrieg is, right?
Yeah.
They're high on meth and they're storming into Poland. And when they get to Poland, they blow over the 6 blokes with horses that are drinking Kanzatishki. That is their defense force.
Yeah.
And Eichmann is the guy that they're like, right, can you sort what the Jews are doing out in Poland? And at some point, they start ghettos. That becomes the policy.
Poland in the 1940s
bad
is
place to be.
Maybe one of the worst places you could be ever.
Yeah.
It's as bad as it gets anywhere, ever, pretty much.
Yeah. Because again, in the policy terms the Germans have to the Jews at this point, it's so it starts as okay, but don't make any money. Then it's go over there. As soon as they occupy Poland, they're basically like, right, let's get all of them in. Let's consolidate everyone in. You'd say quite bad conditions. It's before Eichmann really gets going with trains.
Yeah.
As a young boy, I imagine he loves his train set.
Yeah, and I think this is the sweet.
What is this
He's
sweet
probably
boy?
be a train conductor.
He's going to be a train conductor one day. In a way, he will be.
But there's a cinematic nature to Eichmann in that kind of like there's a lot of films follow that narrative, though. You open with an unextraordinary man who does something extraordinary.
A little boy playing with a train in his woolen shorts.
The opening to the film, he's getting bullied. His teacher's saying you won't amount to anything.
Yeah.
It's really setting it up. It normally goes the other way, but it does have that narrative of a man who found his calling.
Yeah, so he's playing with trains as a young boy, and then he's in the Nazi Party, and these two elements they're just there, and they haven't joined the dots yet.
Right.
Then the big thing is the Wannsee Conference,
right,
which is in January the 20th, 1942. This is just sort of suburb of Berlin, just outside, big house. Basically, all the boys get together. Hitler has invaded Russia, torn up the Nazi Soviet Pact, which, tacticians probably say that's his undoing, his great failure.
Hubris.
They're doing meth So they're like, fuck it, let's just invade Russia. And then they go, it's wintertime.
Call the guy again.
I don't feel the cold. I'm pissed. I've got a beer jacket on. They're like, no, it's really cold. It's really cold. It doesn't matter what drugs you're on. It is very cold.
It's chilly.
It doesn't work. They get
chilly
stuck.
as heck.
It's chilly as heck. They get stuck. But what they've started doing on the Eastern Front is they've launched these thing called Einsatzgruppen. Now, am I in a WhatsApp thread called Einsatzgruppen? Maybe. But...
We'll never know.
We'll never know. I won't be standing trial. I do not see this court as legitimate. I was abducted to be here. This isn't a legitimate trial. The Einsatzgruppen were essentially sort of roving death squads,
right?
Where soldiers would kind of just like, they would just hunt Jews down in the woods and just sort of shoot them and put them in pits. So it was very kind of like, in terms of the extermination of European Jews,
more cowboy-esque.
It's cowboy. It's free jazz. There's no.
Fine, yeah.
It's John Coltrane with a big saxophone.
Yeah,
going,
this is not the Eichmann. He's the opposite.
Eichmann's not in charge.
This has nothing to do with
Eichmann's
this.
brought in to stop the jazz.
Yeah.
And start the classical music.
Right.
So Einsatzgruppen they're sort of terrifying death squads, just sort of roving. They're from the SS.
The forests of Poland.
The forests of Poland and into Ukraine and stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of Jews die this way, but you don't think of it.
No, I
because
I
you
didn't
think
know
of
about
the
this.
formalised, industrialised slaughter.
But they're still doing old school.
Yeah, I mean, they were just like, they were just hunting people down.
They're still paying homage to the classics.
Yeah, there was an analogue element to the murder as well, the Einsatzgruppen.
Yeah.
And so in 42, January 42, the Einsatzgruppen's been going since they invaded. When do they invade Russia? It's in 41. It must be in the summer because they think they're going to do it. Yeah,
right.
They do it in June 41 because they think they're going to smash it.
Yeah.
And then it turns out Russia's very big.
Yep.
And they're absolutely cooked.
Yeah.
So they go, fuck, it's wintertime. We're freezing. We fuck this.
Which we'll do an episode on.
Which we'll do. I mean, we'll do operations. We'll do Barbarossa. We'll do episodes on all of this.
Because Stalingrad's number one for me.
The podcast will end when we have talked about every possible thing that happened in World War II.
Yeah.
So in 1942, January, the Wannsee Conference, which is where all the big Nazi boys get together in a big house, and they're like, this is where the new policy is. It's not Madagascar.
Is Eichmann here?
Eichmann's taking the minutes.
Is he?
Yeah.
Fuck.
All the big boys are there.
Yeah.
Himmler, Goering, Hurler.
It's been changed to Hurler now.
Herstory, Himmler, he slash Himmler. Those are my pronouns. He slash Himmler. He Himmler. Heil Hitler. That's his pronouns. He Himmler. Heil Hitler.
He slash Heil Hitler.
Heil slash Hitler. I'm signing off my emails, Heil slash Hitler.
That was the problem with it.
Yeah.
Like, we're still doing Heil Hitlers, but it's like, he slash Hitler.
He slash him. Well, if the Nazis if they'd won, and there was still this kind of woke era that we're living through now,
there probably would be.
There would be like, it's actually Heil slash Hitler.
Yeah.
The Wannsee Conference is where they decide to move from the kind of quite, let's say,
tame.
It's all bad. I don't need to caveat that. Yeah. This is all bad. I think this is all bad.
Yeah.
But it is historic.
This is rubbish.
This is rubbish behaviour. It's poor form. Yeah. It's not cricket.
It's not on.
It's not on. They're naughty boys, but they're called the Naughty Party.
Yeah.
Nazi is German for naughty, as we know. So what they do at Wannsee is they move to, this is where they introduce the term final solution. They go, none of this Madagascar shit, none of this free jazz modal shit on the Eastern Front.
Yeah.
We are going to build camps. We're going to get them. We're going to, you're going to industrialize the slaughter. I want Amazon Prime Holocaust. I want it done, right?
Yeah.
And I imagine, in my head, the Wannsee Conference is like, you know when Microsoft launched Windows 95? And then you've seen that video.
Yeah,
with the all dancing.
It's that, isn't it?
I imagine it's that.
Then finally.
So that's Eichmann there.
Yeah.
These are the Nazi boys.
Yeah, there's
1942. There's Bill Gates. There's Hitler. There's dancing. The Stones are playing. Guys, we've got it. This is the future. Welcome to the future. This is Wannsee. This is what we're going to do. So this is where they decide.
Now, you're sure this is the final solution?
This is the final.
You said that last time.
Yeah.
Is this definitely? Because I have to rename everything. Because last time we said the final solution, and now this is. Are we sure?
Final. Finished solution in the bin.
It's like when I was doing like an edit of of specials and stuff, it was always like
Final
draft.
Actual final.
Second seriously final draft.
Really final. No more solutions after this. And this is where Himmler, who's the main guy that's like, he's Hitler's mouthpiece, he's Hitler's puppet. Himmler is going, right, we want to exterminate the Jews, we want to move from emigration and ghettoization to full-on extermination. So Eichmann basically is hearing this.
Yeah.
And they go, right, who's the loser guy? The guy taking the minutes, you do it. Sort it out. I don't care how you do it.
Right.
Fucking do it.
Okay.
So Eichmann's the one that's like, okay, if this is going to happen, we're going to need trains, we're going to need railways.
Yeah.
Rudolf Hess is there, so Auschwitz is already a thing.
Yeah.
But it's not fully like Zyklon B chambers yet.
No.
From 42 until late 44, this is when the trains start coming.
Yes.
And Eichmann is the train guy. He's Francis Bourgeois.
Yeah.
Wow! He's filling cattle cars with the Jews. So he's in charge of Jewish affairs in all the occupied territories.
Yes. He's learned Hebrew, by the way. He's studied Judaism.
Yeah.
He's really got into it. He's done his research.
Yeah, because, and we'll get into Hungary later, but I listened to a thing where at one point he walks into the Budapest ghetto where all the Jews have been gathered, and he goes, "Do not worry, Jews. You have nothing to fear," but he launches by saying to them, "Hello, Jews. Nothing to worry about here." It's like if I was referred to as my race en masse, saying nothing to worry about, I'd probably have suspicions.
Yeah, and it's just the cartoonish.
It's so
villain.
Cartoonish.
You have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, I mean that's why people are obsessed with the Nazis. Is they are just the archetype of cartoonish evil and villainy.
Yeah.
Hello, Jews. Nothing to fear here. Who likes trains? Daddy likes trains. We're going on a little train ride. Right.
You'll see.
You'll all see. Right. So Eichmann then is basically tasked with, like, how the fuck do we implement this insane crackpot scheme? So basically, he's the one that implements the train schedule, the quotas, the routes. He's scheduling. This is all Eichmann.
Yeah.
He's the operational face of the Holocaust.
Right, he's planning the tour.
He's planning the tour. He's the promoter.
He's the tour manager.
He's the tour manager. He's the, as this timeline says, the cold bureaucrat of genocide.
Yeah.
He's the implementation of the whole thing. So, but also he's going on inspections of all the occupied territories, all the ghettos, all the camps, and all these places. He's got mistresses in every.
Oh right.
He's got hoes in different area codes.
Right.
They've all got big tits. They've all got steins of beer.
Yeah.
Mama. He's also he's married to someone called Vera, who gets is important later. Yeah. And he has at this point, I think he has a son born in 1942. Oh, here you go. So Klaus is born in 36. Horst Adolf born in 1940, and Dieter's born in 42. Yeah. And Ricardo's born in 55. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
So he has three German sons. Yeah. I mean, he's the model Aryan. Yep. But he's got mistresses in all these areas. And again, it's that thing of you saying about how the loser's becoming powerful. Yeah. He's suddenly drunk on the power. You know, whenever he goes to occupied territory, he gets in the fucking castle. He gets the hat on. He gets the cellars open, all the wine bottles. He's drinking it. He's fucking whoever. You know, he's got mistresses there. And again, I'm putting a pin in this because it's undoing later on. Yeah. So we should get to Hungary though. So basically, he's been very careful actually in trying to be this sort of shadowy figure of like, I'm just a civil servant. Yep. You know, he's aware how bad this is. Okay. Much as he protests, he knows this is boo-boo.
And he's so focused on the entire eradication of the Jewish people.
Yeah, I know. I'm not.
It's a numbers thing that he's.
I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying that he's.
It'd be crazy to say
he's not done this by accident. This is a very deliberate, organised slaughter of people. Yeah. But what I'm saying is that he's very clever and calculating in that he's making sure he's not front and centre. He's not the poster boy for all this stuff. But
because the war is turning against Germany.
Yeah, so 43, the Allies invade Italy. Yeah. That doesn't really... They do...
There's not a huge amount of options out for the Germans if you're smart. You can see that it's turning. But
the Eastern Front is completely collapsing. Yeah. They've been pretty much defeated by the Mediterranean by the end of 43, start of 44. Yeah. The Americans are in the war. They know an invasion's coming. Yeah. Operation Overlord's going to happen. They invade Hungary, the Germans, and I think it's in March 44.
Surprisingly late.
Yeah, it was because they know the Soviets are coming and they're trying to.
Yeah, I don't know how Hungary avoided this for so long.
Well, they're part of the Soviet Union, and it's down. Hungary's down, and they've been going up to try. Hitler wanted to get to Moscow, so he went through Ukraine in the summer, and then got into Russia when the winter hit, and he got fucked.
I think the Hungarian government has were just chucking their Jews at the Nazis for ages.
I think they actually invited the Nazis in.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to clean that?
There's loads.
There's loads here.
So yeah.
So, but
poor form from the Hungarians during the war.
Eichmann goes fucking apeshit in Hungary. He's like, this is where he goes.
And when you say apeshit, Eichmann goes fucking apeshit.
Yeah, Abacus is out. Yeah, he's just, he's doing. Yeah. Okay, it's not very cinematic, this bit. Him going apeshit is not. It's just more spreadsheets. But what he does in Hungary is that, bear in mind, I think there are a total of maybe 750,000 registered Jews. Is that the term? Registered
Jews? Sounds bad. It sounds like you're putting on the same level as sex offenders for some reason.
I'm not doing that. I'm using the language.
They have to tell everyone. They probably did have to tell everyone in their neighbourhood that they
using the language of the time. They had about a quarter million.
On the registered Jew list.
But in Nazi-occupied Europe, you probably did have to go on a register.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's 750,000 Hungarian Jews, and Eichmann basically wants to get rid of them all in like double quick time. So what he does in Hungary, which I guess you can only do with the acquiescence of the Hungarian authorities.
If it's his football career, is this his prime years? Is him at his best?
Yeah, this is Zidane, 98, 02.
Right. So this is him, flow state.
Ballon d'Or. Yeah. This is exactly what it is. It's a flow state in more ways than one. So he moves into Hungary, and he's in like the open top car with the leather gloves. Yeah. Like at this point, he's really drunk on power.
Yeah, in the film, this is a montage.
It's like he's storming in.
You see the numbers going up. The numbers are going up. Probably.
The numbers are going up. Eichmann's like, ding! And it's like, yeah. It's the good bit. It's the good montage in Wolf of Wall Street. It's all going well. Yeah. You know, there's money flying everywhere. Yeah. So, but he's really drunk on power now, and he basically in Hungary he lets his guard down and is sort of. He goes to the trains himself. He goes to the ghettos. Hello, Jews.
Yeah, right. But he's short, lacks charisma.
In a castle in Budapest. He's pissed. He has a mistress, more mistresses.
Right.
And he, in the space of like months, he goes to meet Rudolf Hess, the commandant of Auschwitz, who's the character in Zone of Interest, who's played by the same actor as the weak German.
Wait, what's his name?
Security. Rudolf Hess.
But does he make it in Zone of Interest?
He's the guy. He's Zone of Interest.
Yes,
he's the commandant at Auschwitz, who's played by the same actor as the guy in White Lotus, who's the German hotel manager.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and no one realizes it, and it's so funny.
Oh my god, it is him.
It's the same guy, and it's like you couldn't have two more polar roles than the fucking commandant of Auschwitz.
It's old Germans versus new Germans, isn't it?
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Oh, hello, no, don't worry, whatever you want.
Oh, no, I couldn't possibly sing. Yeah. Anyway, so he goes to Hess and he goes, listen, we've taken over Hungary. There's loads of them in here.
Yeah.
Are you ready for me to up the trains quite a lot?
Yeah.
And Rudolph's like, yeah, mate, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what he says.
Yeah.
At one point, I did go over my audiobook listening amount on Spotify. So there are some gaps in my... information.
You've got to listen to it at double speed. Like
I was listening to double speed.
It's
very weird. It's been a very weird week. So Eichmann he's talking to Hess all the time, and he's like, I've just made it hungry. Like, we're going to up it.
Yeah.
Because at this point, everyone knows the war is turning. Or the Nazi high command in sort of spring 44, they know that it's on the down. So, and this is where Himmler tells Eichmann, listen, stop sending Hungarian Jews to the death camps because we need to keep these Jews as bargaining chips with the Allies.
This is the big thing for Eichmann.
And Eichmann
This is when he finally breaks script.
Eichmann goes, fuck that. I love trains. I will not be told to stop my trains.
Well, you think because of bargaining chips? I guess it's not even bargaining chips. It's more like we need to start clearing this mess up. My wife's coming.
Adolf, the party's over.
The wife's
texting me.
Started,
it's 6 a.m. and Adolf's like, no.
We're still going.
And it kind of, I'm getting a boat.
Almost, yeah. So of all the terrible things Eichmann does, the worst crime he does probably is when he kills so many Jews when the war's already gone. And his commanders are telling him to stop.
Well, that's
and
it. His defense of
many Jews died who it wasn't even against orders.
I mean, it was, you'd say proportionally, if there are 6 million Jews that died in the Holocaust, he personally logistically organises 400,000 to go to Auschwitz in like a few months in 44 against the orders of Himmler.
Right.
So if he's saying I'm following orders and then he doesn't follow orders to still kill Jews...
It's quite extraordinary, yeah.
He's also going into the ghettos of Hungarian Jews and speaking to them. And it's like, so his face is around because he's drunk on power.
Yeah.
He refused to stop deportations. There's a whole thing about Jewish leaders in the Hungarian ghetto, in the Budapest ghetto. They're trying to organise a deal with the Allies. Or no, they're trying to organise a deal with, can you spare 1 million Jewish lives in exchange for 10,000 trucks? So to give the Wehrmacht 10,000 trucks and to have the Allies just take the Jews out. So that's what Himmler's trying to broker. There's this deal with the Jewish resistance in the Budapest ghetto and Himmler and potentially with the Allies.
But do the Allies have any idea what's happening to the Jews? Well, they don't know the details of what's going on in the camps.
They don't know how bad it is. They know it's bad.
Right.
I mean, there's definitely...
So they didn't know too much about...
I don't know. That's kind of quite contested. There's a lot of... There's aerial photographs of Auschwitz as early as 1941 that the American spy planes have.
Right.
They don't really know about the ovens and stuff and like the gassing, I don't think. But there are people who are escaping Auschwitz all the time and telling the Americans and the Brits. But
okay, I guess the one thing you couldn't even imagine the scale.
But Himmler basically says... I think it's here... Sorry, Himmler. Not Himmler. Eichmann says to the Jewish leader, yeah, we'll do that, and then basically just doesn't do it and tries to take the trucks. And so in December 44, Eichmann flees Budapest just before the Soviets... Oh, that's it. The Soviets encircle Budapest, and if there's one thing you don't want to be, is a Nazi in a Soviet-occupied...
Yeah.
They're not sparing any prisoners.
No.
They're pretty pissed off.
Yeah. And this is Poland in the 1940s. Yeah, it's pretty rough because you've had the Nazis roll through. Worst things ever happened. And then the Soviets have rolled through.
You're a bunch of tit bros encircled by Bunda heads. The Bunda boys are here, and they want to take out all the tit guys.
Yeah.
So Christmas Eve, 1944, Eichmann flees Budapest, having done...
Christmas Eve? He must be excited.
Yeah. A lot of damage.
He's got flutters. He's like, I wonder what I'm going to get for Christmas.
Well, this guy works right up until Christmas Day.
Right.
He's taking Christmas Day off, but he's annoyed about it.
Yeah. But he's laid his stockings out, and he's like, I hope I get something nice.
More model trains. He goes back to Berlin just as the Soviets encircle Budapest, and he goes to his department 4B4 and he goes, burn everything. You know what we've been doing with the Jews? Same thing with these papers. Just fucking get rid of them.
Get them on the trains and get them to the camps.
Just burn them.
Yeah.
But what's fascinating about the end of the war here is that there's like 5 months where all the SS, they know it's over. The Allies have landed at Normandy and they're working their way through the Ardennes, Battle of the Bulge. That's all happening at the end of the 44. So they're just, it's kind of like, well, we're just going to fuck off then. And like obviously the uber loyalists are staying with Hitler in the bunker to the end. But Eichmann just sort of like bobs around Austria, South Germany.
He keeps
moving.
And there's loads of like processing camps that he goes through. But
we'll get to that. But basically, it's the war is ending, and Eichmann has burned all his files in Berlin, and he gets to Austria. Where he's got family. I think his parents live in Linz in Austria. He realizes he's actually quite a bad guy. They've lost.
Yeah.
And he's probably they're gonna want to ask him some questions at the very least.
He doesn't realise he's a bad guy. He realises he's in a lot of trouble.
Yes, sorry.
It's slightly different.
Yeah. He's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
He's been a very naughty boy.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some people along quite soon to ask him some questions.
Yeah.
So what he does is he changes his name to Otto Eichmann.
Yeah.
And he gets captured by American forces in May 1945. And what we'll do is we'll leave this episode here. In our next episode, we will talk about his escape. And then we'll then get
through the rat line.
And we'll then get to the thrilling capture and trial.
Which is just a great story.
It's just an amazing story.
Yeah.
Now, all those episodes, I'm going to say it now, all 4 of these episodes, they're already on the Patreon. Four-parter, 2 weeks of Eichmann, you lucky pigs. They're all on the Patreon now. £3 a month, you can subscribe, and you get the Rise of the Nazi series. Yeah. Everything's ad-free. You get a bonus episode every Friday. To be honest,
if you haven't listened to the Rise of the Nazis and you're on the Patreon, I would listen now. It's a good setup.
Get into it. Well, I think this bonus we'll do this week will be about Hitler escaping to Brazil.
Much like it's the weather's getting better. When like the Ashes is on, you have the radio blasting in the garden.
Sorry, just the Ashes. Given what we're talking about, is
no, sorry. But you've got the cricket blasting in the radio out in the garden. This is how I want you to listen to this Nazi series.
Oh, with really loud, the sun on your face.
All the neighbours can hear it. It's blasting out the radio, just super loud.
I got a DM from someone saying they were listening to the Richard III episode. And as they had the window down, and they pulled up to the car beside them, also had the window down, and they just heard you go, "Beautiful young boys." This is probably a series to listen with the windows up, I reckon. That's all on the Patreon. Either way, we'll see you next time for what Eichmann does when he realises the party's over. He's just getting started.
Auf Wiedersehen.
See you next time.